All right, this death spiral that Congressman Ryan was referring to, it is increasing premiums and dropping enrollment by healthy people. In other words, Obamacare is being exposed for what it is. Nothing more than a massive government-controlled redistribution of wealth scheme. Thanks, Obama. Joining me now from New York City, family physician and healthcare policy expert, Dr. Jonathan Vitale. Doctor, I have a great concern about what I'm witnessing on Capitol Hill right now, specifically regarding Congress. I just am worried that they're going to blow this. They're not going to fully repeal Obamacare. You think we'll ever see a full repeal?
Well, first of all, Graham, thanks for having me. We're all certainly hoping for this full repeal. Keep in mind that not only did Trump campaign on that promise of a full repeal and replace, but also that's why we have a Republican House and a Republican Senate. Every Republican in Congress basically ran on the fact that we would have a full repeal and replace of Obamacare. The other thing to keep in mind, however, is, as you stated, Obamacare was built to implode, to collapse onto itself from the beginning. So even if they do nothing, it's going to fail. So this is a very urgent issue. And I am fairly confident that we're going to see a full repeal because it's what the congressional leadership and Donald Trump himself have advocated for. The issue is, when is it going to happen? That's what we're talking about. I
have some ideas on that, but, you know, we've seen the Republican Congress, when Obama was in office, repeal, I put that in air quotes, repeal, try and repeal Obamacare through a vote multiple times. I think, I don't know, 3 dozen times it got to Obama's desk, a couple of dozen times, and he vetoed it. Those were all phony votes. And now here we are 4 weeks into the new administration, and we have nothing so far. Now, that said, they could be deferring to the President of the United States to work with him and even have the president take the lead on this. And I hope that's what's going on. In fact, President Trump talked about Obamacare and the repeal at the news conference. He wedged it in there between attacking the press. He talked about Obamacare and a kind of a rough timeline. Roll tape.
We've begun preparing to repeal and replace Obamacare. Obamacare is a disaster. Tax reform is going to happen fairly quickly. We're doing Obamacare. We're in final stages. We should be submitting the initial plan in March, early March, I would say. And we have to, as you know, statutorily and for reasons of budget, we have to go first. It's not like, frankly, the tax would be easier, in my opinion.
Okay, so here's my argument, Doctor. Repeal it now. Repeal it yesterday. Repeal it tomorrow. I don't care. But put a sunset date in there. The repeal can happen now. The sunset can be in a year and a half. And I have the perfect sunset date, Doctor. You know what it is? August 4th.
When is it?
2018. August 4th just happens to be Barack Obama's birthday.
Well, look, here's the thing. President Trump wants to repeal. We've heard from House leadership as well with Paul Ryan that he also wants to repeal and replace. And it's very important, though, that we repeal and replace on the same day. And I think that is entirely possible.
Why? Why do we need to do it simultaneously?
Well, I think we need to do it simultaneously for a few reasons. One is more people are going. We're then going to be able to get some of the congressional Democrats to sign up for that as well. And also, we need to make sure that we are presenting this cohesive plan to the American public so that it doesn't appear as though we are just abandoning everybody who signed up for Obamacare. Now, keep in mind, though, Graham, yes, the mainstream media has misled the public with how many people are actually covered under Obamacare. But keep in mind, though, that I do think, as does Rand Paul with his new plan under the House Freedom Caucus, that we can repeal every word of Obamacare and replace it within the same day. Now, in terms of the timeline, Paul Ryan has said that he wants to do this basically within the next few months. And we definitely have to, I think, start seeing something happen before the congressional recess in April. Otherwise, these congressional members are going to have to go back to their home districts and be torn apart in these town hall meetings. Because keep in mind that the reason they're there is to repeal and replace Obamacare, not to repair it, not to tinker around the margins, as Paul Ryan said, but to actually repeal and replace it. And I do think that is possible. We've seen many plans come forth. But I think the issue that we're dealing with here is Trump has a very horizontal management structure, meaning we don't have a lot of really good leadership. Who is going to be the person who's going to be in charge of this? Is it going to be Tom Price, who would be a great choice? Is it going to be Paul Ryan, or is it going to have to be Donald Trump himself to lean in and say, this is what I want to happen, and this is when I want it to occur? But I do think that it's very important to repeal and have a replacement. And that's a very realistic thing.
Just get me repeal. That's all I care about. Just get rid of this sucker. And I think that whatever the replacement is, hopefully it's just the free market. But it may be a modified free market, a free market that allows insurance companies to cross state lines and more competition, because that'll lower pricing. But I also think that we ought to consider going to a voucher system. Not necessarily a government-mandated voucher system, but one between doctors and their patients and the insurance companies to try and restore that doctor-patient relationship, which has been obliterated over the last 20, 30 years. Doctor, out of time. Thank you. Coming up next, why rural Arizona is sun, gun, and Trump country as the Daily Ledger continues.